Most riders pick engines wrong by chasing horsepower numbers instead of longevity. We're ranking the best motorcycle engines by riding style: cruiser, sport, adventure, and touring, using real-world mileage data from mechanics who've torn apart 100,000-mile motors. However, published ratings lie about longevity because engines slightly understressed for their use case outlast those running at design limits. Cruiser category: Harley-Davidson Milwaukee 8 114. This 1868cc engine fixed the historic heat problems that plagued every previous Harley touring motor. Harley addressed this with precision oil cooling targeting the hottest areas while keeping that classic air-cooled aesthetic riders expect. Owners are pushing 200,000 to 240,000 miles on completely original cylinders and heads. That Montana rider everyone talks about rolled past 240,000 before addressing just a minor oil seep. The weakness shows up in cam chain tensioners and cam bearing assemblies when riders stretch oil intervals beyond 5,000 miles. Modern oils suspend contaminants, but degraded oil can't protect precision components. The cam system takes the hit first. Fix is straightforward. Stick to 4,000-mile oil changes and quick tensioner checks every 20,000 miles. 9 out of 10 for cruiser applications because it excels at long sustained highway miles with simple maintenance schedules working adults can actually follow. Indian PowerPlus 108. Indian scaled up their Scout platform, creating this 1769cc liquid-cooled power plant purpose-built for bagger duty. That liquid cooling advantage gives Indian benefits over traditional air-cooled design for sustained performance. Real-world proof: a Virginia state trooper retired his Scout after 210,000 miles. Bought a Challenger with this engine, then racked up another 170,000 miles. Same architecture, zero bottom-end work across nearly 400,000 combined miles. Early versions occasionally threw false throttle body codes during temperature extremes. Electronic sensors can develop slight calibration drift over time. Indian fixed this through software reflash, and most bikes receive this during routine service. Watch primary chain tension because Indian specs these tighter than Harley. When chains loosen, they create harmonic vibrations, accelerating compensator sprocket wear. 8.5 out of 10 for reliability, though parts availability in rural areas trails Harley's network. Sport category: Kawasaki Ninja ZX14R 1441cc. This 1441cc inline-4 was designed to survive sustained Autobahn pace, meaning multiple hours at speeds that would overstress most sport bike engines within minutes. Kawasaki built this to handle forced induction applications. So when you're running it naturally aspirated on the street, you're only asking this engine to work at 60% of its structural capability. The drag racing community proves this, running stock bottom-end engines for entire seasons, with nitrous injection adding 40 to 50% horsepower. These engines survive repeated quarter-mile passes at power levels destroying other sport bike motors by the third weekend. Top-end noise develops after years of hitting a rev limiter repeatedly. Cap your spirited riding 500 RPM below that limiter and properly burp the cooling system after coolant service to avoid localized hotspots. 9.5 out of 10. Perfect for high-speed road riders, though weight makes tight track work less ideal. Suzuki Hayabusa 1340cc. Suzuki engineered this 1340cc inline-4 for sustained speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, creating thermal management challenges most sport bike engines never face. At those speeds, for extended periods, heat buildup becomes exponential, so you can't just add a bigger radiator. Suzuki implemented massive cooling capacity with conservative internal stress levels, meaning even at full power, internal components work well below failure limits. European riders document exceeding 200,000 kilometers on original engines, while regularly operating at speeds above 250 kilometers per hour. That's roughly 125,000 miles of sustained high-load operation. The electrical system's stator output barely keeps pace with modern accessories once you've added heated gear and auxiliary lights. Upgrade to a higher output aftermarket stator for about $250. Don't skip air filter service because even moderately dirty filters cause rich running that washes oils off cylinder walls. 9 out of 10, because weight suits high-speed touring better than tight track work. Adventure category. BMW R1250GS Boxer. Boxer engines position cylinders horizontally opposed, creating 3 advantages for adventure riding. Low center of gravity improves handling on unstable surfaces. Cylinders get natural cooling airflow from both sides, and the configuration creates natural balance without heavy counterbalancers. BMW added precision liquid cooling to the hottest cylinder head areas while maintaining air cooling elsewhere. Rental fleets in South Africa and Australia regularly see 300,000 kilometers before first valve adjustments, enduring desert heat, coastal salt air, and corrugated dirt roads. Final drive spline lubrication needs attention every 10,000 miles. Without proper lubrication, splines develop wear, creating harmonic vibration that prematurely damages transmission output shaft bearings, turning a 5-minute task into a $1,500 repair. BMW specifies synthetic oil because transmissions share engine oil supply and need superior shear stability. Perfect 10 out of 10 for adventure duty. KTM 1290 Super Adventure LC8. When KTM committed to legitimate adventure touring, they created this 1290cc V-twin, emphasizing strong mid-range torque where you actually use it off-road rather than peak power numbers. Riders consistently report the LC8 engine stays bulletproof past 100,000 miles, handling everything from technical single-track to sustained Autobahn cruising. However, electronics and ancillary systems sometimes need attention far from dealers. The fuel pump occasionally develops buzzing around 50,000 miles. Inside are check valves that wear microscopically, creating vibration when fuel flows past them. The pump continues functioning perfectly, so either live with the sound knowing it typically functions fine for another 50,000 miles or replace preemptively. Valve clearances actually move over time, unlike some Japanese engines, making 50,000-mile inspections important to prevent burned exhaust valves. 8.5 out of 10. Because while the engine is sensational, occasional electrical gremlins affect ownership experience. Honda Africa Twin CRF 1100. Honda created this 1100cc parallel twin to be field serviceable, meaning a competent mechanic with standard tools can troubleshoot and fix most issues without specialized diagnostic computers. Honda's warranty claims department tracks claims globally, and this engine consistently shows the lowest major failure rate of any Leader Plus adventure bike. Most warranty work involves accessories and electronics rather than anything inside the actual engine. People complain this engine lacks character compared to thumping V-twins or distinctive Boxers. That's deliberate design choice. Honda prioritized smooth power delivery that doesn't fatigue you over long days rather than distinctive pulses, feeling exciting initially but wearing on you by hour 8. If you want more sound, add aftermarket exhaust without touching internals. Use the correct Honda-specified oil filter. Wrong filters create excessive pressure drop, triggering warnings even though oil pressure's fine. 9 out of 10. Perfect for long trips with limited dealer access where reliability matters more than character. Before we move into our final category, where the engineering gets even more interesting, I want you to hit that subscribe button because I'm building out an entire motorcycle community that I'd like you to be a part of. Touring category. Honda Gold Wing GL 1800. Honda decided merely building a reliable engine wasn't ambitious enough for their flagship, so they created this 1800cc horizontally opposed six-cylinder that's essentially a luxury automobile engine fitting within a motorcycle frame. Multiple riders have documented gold wings exceeding 400,000 miles on completely original engines and transmissions. One Canadian rider accumulated 530,000 kilometers, about 330,000 miles, before rebuilding purely to satisfy curiosity about what wears out. He found basically nothing significant. Early gold wings have one quirky issue. The radiator fan relay occasionally fails, causing overheating in slow traffic. Carry a spare $15 relay, because if you're putting 200,000 miles on a gold wing, you'll eventually experience this at the most inconvenient moment. Cooling system service every 4 years or 40,000 miles maintains precise temperature control. Perfect 10 out of 10 for touring duty. BMW K1600 GT Inline-Six. BMW's 1600cc transverse Inline-Six represents the most sophisticated engineering ever packaged into a production motorcycle. They wanted touring motorcycle engine refinement matching their automotive division's legendary Inline-Sixes, requiring packaging 6 cylinders with double overhead camshafts into something narrow enough for a motorcycle frame. Growing numbers of K1600 owners document 200,000-mile journeys with zero major engine work beyond routine maintenance. That's impressive considering complexity involved in coordinating 6 cylinders with 12 camshafts and 24 valves. Many perceive this technology must be fragile and expensive to maintain. Actual reality contradicts this because BMW over-engineered every critical component. However, electronics and accessories occasionally need attention. Find a mechanic who understands BMW's diagnostic systems, because most engine-related warning lights trace back to sensor issues rather than mechanical problems. This engine uses sophisticated oil management, monitoring level and quality real-time. Respect those warnings. 9 out of 10, because complexity creates maintenance anxiety despite proven longevity. Looking across every riding style, real-world data reveals something fascinating. Cruiser V-twins evolved beyond their questionable reputation through proper engineering. Sport bikes showed larger displacement engines outlast smaller siblings because they work less hard. Adventure bikes proved sophisticated technology and field reliability aren't mutually exclusive. Touring engines demonstrated 500,000-mile capability exists right now. The pattern connecting every engine on this list, they're all slightly understressed for their typical use case, creating longevity margins surviving real-world conditions, including occasional neglect and abuse we all inflict. Grab my free engine longevity checklist in the description. Hit subscribe, because we're building comprehensive reliability rankings across every motorcycle component, contradicting decades of brand loyalty assumptions riders defend without checking actual failure rates.